Okay, now let me try this all over again. I do apologize. Don't ask me what happened. Don't ask me what went wrong. I don't have a clue. So, seeing the fact that you could just see my lips move and you didn't hear a word I said, and I apologize for that because normally everything works just fine. So, let me know if you can hear me now. Let me know if those of you can hear me. And that is so funny. That is absolutely amazing. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me know if you can hear me. I know it should be working now. And I'll wait another second, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back and repeat what I had said before, seeing that no one could hear what I was saying. And again, I do apologize for that. Um, that's amazing. That was absolutely amazing. Let me go back through this because I'm sure you can hear me now because my indicator is letting me know that there is sound. Well, as you know, this is 40 days of fasting. We partnered with Bishop Clark, who is asking for this nationwide time of 40 days of fasting until the election season, and then when the verdict came down concerning Kentucky and the ruling that they made, it became more than just fasting for the political season, but now we're also fasting and believing God that God will bring justice in a very wicked, in a very prejudicial criminal justice system, which for the most part has never been geared toward us as a people anyway. So that was the reason we did so. We partnered. We had many who said that you would join in with us, and again, we're grateful to God for that. So day one was basically dealing with the census. I believe that's on Friday. I talked about the importance. You got a couple of days left to get that information filled out, and so all of that, and then also the important part of making sure that you, if you have, and many of us throughout the whole state of Ohio, good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you hadn't said anything, I would have never known that you couldn't hear me. And so, in the midst of that, the census is important because it allows revenue to come into our neighborhoods, which, as you know, like I know, is so desperately needed. Also, making sure that you turn in, and we're not going to get caught up in whether the postal system is right or all this, that, or the other. We're not going to do all of that. What we're going to deal with is the fact that, and we developed a process not only just for Union, but for our state convention as well as our district, that we would have you fill them out, and we took them to the Board of Elections, and that eliminates that post office foolishness that's going on about how things are going to be delayed and how things are not going to take place. Hey, Ayana, Sabrina, Minister Sarah, Carolyn Johnson, Carolyn Williams. I see y'all on here. I see you, Pat. Good. Ina, Denise. Okay, just wanted to holler out at you, Denise, Thea, Sylvia. Good to see y'all this morning. And so that was day one. Day two, I dealt with Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 through 21. And this is the part that I was talking about before I really recognized or realized that there was no sound. Many times, what's wrong with this political season, what's happening in this political season, is the fact that too many people are listening to what someone is saying rather than reading for themselves. All of a sudden, we live in an age now where reading seems to be a lost art. We now basically just listen to what everybody else has to say, and then we make judgments from there. Minister Flee, let me know if it continues to freeze. I'm going to look at something because mines are showing that everything is running just right. So let me know what's what, and I'll see what I can do on my end. And so if you have someone who doesn't read, and that person who doesn't read has overwhelming influence over people who don't read, So rather than them reading the facts for themselves, they just believe what someone says. And I am a firm believer as a pastor. You need to read it for yourself. You need to research it for yourself. You need to know this for yourself. And so that's why we gave you Galatians chapter 5. And it is running, Minister Philly. I don't know what's going on with yours, but I'm looking at it from three different sources, and it's not freezing on my end. There's a real good possibility that maybe there might be some issues with the internet or your IP provider. Prayerfully, that'll be straightened out real soon. Like in my home, I can be on the phone and the signal will drop. Yeah, that's the amazing thing about technology. No matter how much you trust it, it will still fail you. And so, in the midst of that, we did that, and then yesterday we brought out the first segment of Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And so, this was overwhelmingly important for us to get to recognize and to understand. So, we talked about that, but today, what I want to deal with is the importance of priority. And I'm only going to keep you a couple of more minutes, and then I'll be gone. The importance of priority, because here has been the problem, Kathy, and in many instances, and Linda, and those of you who are on here with us as well, is what we do is we want God to perform a certain thing a certain way, and then we seek Him, which means we've got the priorities backwards. Because here's what God wants you to do. He wants you to settle yourself in Him. He wants you to assure yourself in Him. He wants you to become confident in Him. And then once that has settled, once that has been achieved, once that has been accomplished, guess what happens? In the midst of you being settled, are y'all with me so far? In the midst of you being settled, then your trust is no longer in a system that you're trying to change. Your trust, I want y'all to catch this. Your trust comes in the fact that you know God has proven Himself to you over and over again of His ability, His capability, His trustworthiness to be trusted in situations where you can't see Him operate or work. And that's one of the things that many times we struggle with, is we want to see this immediate manifestation. We want to see this immediate move of God. We want to see God instantaneously wipe out things and change things and provide things. And what many of us have to understand is I've got to trust Him when I have nothing else to trust. I've got to believe Him when I have nothing else to believe. I've got to depend on Him when there's no one else available. And that's where the struggle or the tug of war comes in, because your flesh says, let's get immediate gratification. Let's immediately get this done. Let's immediately accomplish this. And God says, I'm looking at a different picture. I'm looking at a picture of not the reality of what's going on right now, but I'm looking at the picture of what was before it happened, what is that's going on, and how the outcome will take place. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share this story with you. And I got this, Minister Sharp, from Bridget, from T.D. Jakes. It was one of the most powerful things that really shook me to know that God really does know what He's doing. Y'all remember Zacchaeus? Y'all remember Zacchaeus and how he wanted to see Jesus, but he was kind of short. And because he was short, he climbed up into a tree. And Jesus looked up in the tree and said, Zacchaeus, come down, because today I want to abide in your house. Let me tell you how proficiently effective and calculating And I'm trying to think of another word I can use to describe the multiplicity factor of God's ability to know what's needed before the need shows up. God took a seed of a sycamore tree, planted it in that spot years, maybe even hundreds of years before Jesus manifested himself in flesh and walked down that road. By the time Jesus gets to the tree is fully grown and is capable of holding Zacchaeus, who is going up into the tree in order for him to see Jesus. Did you catch what I said about how meticulous God is? And so the thing that's amazing about God is we want to look at an immediate gratification, an immediate manifestation. And what we fail to understand is God has already, way before 2020 showed up, planted, put in place, brought to pass a multiplicity of activities, because he understood clearly in the issue of Zacchaeus that he needed that tree to grow at the exact time, in the exact moment, at the exact rate, whereby when Zacchaeus sees the tree, he sees it as an opportunity to see Jesus. And Jesus sees the tree as an opportunity to persuade Zacchaeus to come down out of a tree that he planted hundreds of years ago, so that when he encounters Zacchaeus, he goes back to his house and is transformed, which means he says, if I've done anything wrong to anybody, I'll pay back way more than what I took. Y'all see, and that's the thing that the Matthew 6:33 is so important that you understand. We want now, God says, but wait a minute, I need to let some things happen a little bit longer and for a longer period of time, because the end result is greater than what you want. The end result is that somebody's life will be touched, transformed, and changed because of the encounter that's getting ready to take place. I'm done. I'm done. This is what we have to understand. God has allowed these moments to come to pass. God has permitted this maniac to be in office in order for a transformation to take place. Not just a transformation in the United States of America, but a transformation to take place globally. Your part is to participate in the process. Your part is to recognize there's a God part and there's a your part. And when you trust God, you will believe the God part, even when you don't even trust your part. That's all I got to say. Listen, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I got to move on. Listen, y'all have a fantastic day, and the Lord may or may not come back later on, but just wanted to share that with you so that you'll know that this is day 4 in fasting and prayer and seeking God's face. Share this with everybody you know. Let them know that God is still on the throne. Let them know that God is still in charge. Let them know that God is no short of his promise. For what he says he will do, he will do. You have a fantastic day in the Lord. May God bless you and may he keep you, is our prayer.